Imagine this. What if the love you never believed you deserved walked straight into your life disguised as the one person you least expected? If you're curious, stay with me till the very end, because this story might just steal your heart the same way it stole his. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because you won't want to miss stories like this that might just change the way you see love and life. The story begins with Ethan, a man whose very name was synonymous with success. CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, known for his sharp suits and sharper mind, he was the man everyone envied. But behind that polished exterior was a single father, tired, lonely, and holding his fragile little family together with the last bit of strength he had left. His wife had passed away years ago, leaving him with a daughter, Lily, who was the only light in his otherwise dark and work-consumed world. Lily was 6. Bright, curious, and already far too wise for her age. But Ethan worried constantly. His daughter deserved more than a father who was either buried in meetings or struggling to keep her safe from the cruel loneliness he himself felt every night. That's when Maria walked into their lives. She wasn't extraordinary on paper, just a maid, desperate for work, hoping to keep her own life afloat. But the first day she stepped into Ethan's massive, echoing house, something changed. Maria wasn't like the other maids who had come and gone. She was gentle but firm with Lily, reading her stories at bedtime, cooking meals that made their mansion smell like a real home, and laughing at the little girl's jokes like they were the most precious thing she had ever heard. Ethan, from the corner of his office, began noticing the way his daughter smiled again, the way the house seemed warmer. And though he didn't want to admit it, he noticed the way Maria herself carried a quiet strength, even when her hands were tired and her eyes shadowed with her own hidden battles. But one evening, Ethan's carefully balanced world threatened to shatter. His board of directors was planning an annual gala, and his investors were pressing him with questions, not about his company, but about his life. A man like you, alone? A CEO without stability at home? It doesn't look good, Ethan, one of them sneered. The rumors had started too. Was he incapable of keeping a family together? Could they really trust a man with billions if he couldn't even hold on to love? Cornered, Ethan made a desperate choice. He looked at Maria, who was busy in the kitchen humming softly as Lily painted at the table, and the thought struck him like lightning. It was absurd, completely inappropriate, but it was also the only solution he could think of. That night, he asked her, "Maria, I need you to do something for me. Just for a few weeks. Pretend to be my girlfriend. Attend the gala with me. Show the world that I have someone by my side." Maria froze, spoon in her hand, her heart racing. She wanted to refuse, to laugh at the ridiculous request. She was his maid, not some actress in a staged romance. But when she saw the worry in his eyes, the way his usually unshakable voice trembled, something in her softened. He wasn't just asking for himself. He was asking for Lily too. Reluctantly, Maria agreed. And that's when the lines began to blur. At first, it was awkward, Maria in borrowed dresses, learning how to walk confidently beside Ethan in front of flashing cameras, pretending to laugh at his jokes during public dinners. But somewhere along the way, the pretending didn't feel like pretending anymore. Ethan found himself watching her more closely, not just because she was part of a charade, but because her presence had begun to soothe the hollow ache in his chest. He noticed how she calmed Lily's nightmares, how she stood up to him when he became too harsh, how she carried her own scars but never let them define her. And Maria, she saw a side of Ethan no one else saw. The man who sat on the floor with his daughter building Lego castles at midnight. The man who, despite his wealth, carried a loneliness so deep it could break anyone who looked too closely. The man who, behind his intimidating title of CEO, was just a father terrified of failing the only person he loved most in the world. But as their fake relationship deepened, real challenges rose. Rumors spread in the media that Maria was a gold digger. Ethan's own mother disapproved, reminding him that a CEO needed someone worthy of his status. And Maria, Though she began to love Ethan in ways she never admitted out loud, couldn't silence the voice in her head that told her she wasn't enough, that she'd always just be the maid who borrowed love she didn't deserve. The breaking point came one stormy night when Ethan confronted her about pulling away. Maria, tears streaming, finally confessed, "I can't do this anymore. Not because I don't care, but because I care too much. You're a CEO, Ethan. And me? I'm nothing. The world will never let us be real." But Ethan, for once, didn't let logic win. He took her trembling hands and whispered, "Maria, don't you understand? You're already real. You're the reason my daughter smiles. You're the reason this house feels alive. You're the reason I've started to believe in love again. It's not about the world. It's about us." Those words changed everything. It wasn't easy. Ethan had to fight his board, his reputation, even his own fears. Maria had to fight the doubts that clawed at her heart. But together, they built something stronger than both of them ever imagined. By the time the next gala